Football season is back, and I hate to say it, I just do not care this year. I don't know if it was because last year was so miserable as a 49ers fan with everyone getting hurt, choking so many games that we should have won. I just, like, after the Super Bowl lost, now going on 2 years ago, and then last year's miserable season, I just don't care this year. I don't know what it is. It's with a lot of sports, really. I just don't really care. Even NASCAR this year, I think the only thing I kind of want to see is I want to see Silich win the Xfinity title, and I want to see Denny finally get one in Cup. But football-wise, like, I'm expecting another 9-8, missing the playoffs or something. I mean, it's diva after diva on the wide receiver side. First we had Debo, then we had Ayuk, and now Juwan Jennings wants to get paid wide receiver one money, and it's like, I get it, but at the same time, God, all these people just want to get paid. Oh, man. If only they were like George Kittle. George Kittle takes like a restructured contract every year just to make other players on the team happy. What a guy. Yep, that's how I feel about that. And what's up? It is Who's That Driver, episode 20 now. We've been doing pretty steady here, about every 2 to 3 weeks. I haven't really wanted to do this every week, so I've been a lot more lax with let's see who I can schedule next, and if we can't get it the next week, then we try to get it the week after that, and I'm been pretty chill with that. So this week we've got somebody who has not been around NR 2003 in a while, but when he was one of the best in the game, especially at the open setup realm. I'm joined today by Adam Sweet. What's up, Adam?
Hey, what's up?
So it's been, if you want to just jog my memory, I don't think I've seen you race since Melon Car, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, Melon Car. It was God, what was the last race I did there? It was like a Martinsville race or something. It's hard to remember some days.
Yeah, I think I remember you running Iowa, and then I think it was Pocono. I think you and Christian Leonard were battling for one. I think it was you.
Oh God, yeah, those memories. Yeah, no, it was me and Christian running. I think it was, it was me leading him one. Well, he was second. Sorry, I'm trying to remember all this right off the fly. It's like, okay, so I was, doing my thing, and he was kind of reeling me in there, right? So I was just kind of like, oh crap, yeah, I got to start pushing a little bit harder. Well, I started pushing a little bit too hard, and I tagged the wall out of one. And he really started reeling me in there. And then I think on the very last lap, he finally got to me there on the long pond straight, and I just threw the mother of all blocks. I was just like, no, I am not losing this race. And then by the end of the total turn, I was like, I lost this damn race. Bracken.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the block. It was all the way to the inside wall. It was quite the block. I mean, you were doing what you could there to try to hold them off. I think that race was where I was really excited for that race because I had practiced a little before, and then like right when qualifying hit, my internet, it was either my internet or my power went out. I think it was just the internet went out, and then I sat there for like 15 minutes, and then it came back, and I was like, well, I still kind of want to race, even though I'm going to be like, I think I was like 30 laps down by that point. So I still got out there and ran just to try to get a few spots, because I think I was racing for the championship then. I don't remember. It's been a couple of years now. But yeah, that was quite the block. I remember that vividly because I don't think I saw you after that.
Yeah, well, that was like my second to last race at Melon Car. So what happened? I didn't mention the part where I'd double pedal stopped to save the car in the tunnel turn, and then I'm going to be honest, I tried to wreck him. I admitted it to Tyler, and I admitted it to. Oh, I don't think I ever said anything to Christian about it, but yeah, I tried to rack him because I knew it was my only chance, and I ended up racking myself. So, oh well.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? But so as we talk about you, I want to know first off what got you into motorsports, who your first favorite driver was, who it is now, if it's changed at all, and then your favorite form of motorsports.
Okay, so this is a bit of a story. So the very first race I can actually remember watching, and this is important, is the tail end of the 2001 Daytona 500.
Oof.
Yeah. And I saw the wreck, and I didn't think much of it. I was just an 8-year-old kid. Well, I was 7 at the time. And I remember watching the news with my mom at the end of the night, and I distinctly remember her saying, "I never want you to get into a race car." Whoops. So, a couple years passed, and then I started getting into it again in 2003. It was oh god, I'd have to have the '03 schedule right in front of me. I think it was Rockingham, where I actually really started watching it, because I remember seeing the end of the 2003 Daytona 500 because my mom and my brother were watching it, right? So I don't know why, but for some reason I just saw that 24 car. I knew he was good. I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna start pulling for him.
Oh my
Sure.
God, we've got another fucking Jeff Gordon fan on the podcast. Oh lordy. Well, anyway, continue.
Till the day I die. But anyway, no. Shit, where was I?
You're talking about
Okay.
that 24 car, the Flames.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. So I was just like, yeah. So Jeff's cool. Surely he'll win another championship, right? Surely. Fuck. But no. No. So, I started watching in '03. And I actually went to my first race in 2004, but it wasn't a cup race; it was a truck race. I was going to a church at the time, and they were doing this big church gathering in turn 3 and turns 3 and 4 in Bill Frat's Tower. And
What track?
I can never. What's that? Oh, it was Martinsville. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, I might jump around and I'm scatterbrained. You'll have to
You're
excuse
good.
me.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
So we were at that race, and I can never, ever, ever, ever talk about who won that race just because of who it was. It was fucking Rick Crawford.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, that's psychopath.
Oh boy.
So I ended up, yeah. So I ended up going with the family to just us to Martinsville for the Cup race in the fall. That Martinsville fall race.
You're going to have to jog my memory.
Yeah, the '04 Martinsville, the Subway 500.
Okay. What happened in that race?
It was not what happened at the track, but what happened after that. It was like, I think I was trying to dance around it. The Hendrick plane crash.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my
And
memory's bad with the old stuff, so you're going to have to just say it.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I don't know why I was trying to dance around it. I can distinctly remember, I have to tell this story. I can distinctly remember, okay, you know how after the race you'll see drivers riding out in the golf carts out of the gates. Well, I remember seeing the look on Terry Labonte's face. That man looked like he'd seen a ghost. Like, holy shit.
Dang.
Yeah, nobody knew what happened at the time. Like, it was still kind of, hush hush until the news breaks it. Well, not really hush hush, but it was kind of a development thing. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, that kind of, I kind of kept going on with that. I went to the truck race every now and then. And then started a streak of 8 straight years where I went to at least one Martinsville Cup race. And I actually ended up dragging Randall to like 3 or 4 of them. I can't remember how many it ended up being. And I think it's probably one of my favorite memories of being a motorsports fan is meeting up with people from the community. Guys like, I think Randall talked about it. It was the 2014 Spring Martinsville race where so Randall, Corbin Huffman, Austin Hakes, and I went to the Cup race with my brother. And, we just had a good old time, dragged them all from all different parts of the country. And, like I said, we just had a good time.
Right on, yeah, awesome.
And I think probably the most favorite memory I have of being a motorsports fan, and it's actually going to be 2 of them, seeing Gordon win in person for the last time and seeing Blaney win at Martinsville last fall.
Okay. Why the Blaney
And
one?
that kind of, what's that?
Why the Blaney one?
In 2019, I started rooting for Blaney.
Oh,
I
okay.
jumped on the Blaney bandwagon. I kind of went away from 2016 to 2019. I didn't really watch at all, like really at all. I kind of just faded out of the whole, motorsports thing. I just kind of, just did iRacing, a little bit of NR 2003. I didn't really care about it all that much anymore. I had stuff going on in my life and just a lot of things coalescing together, a lot of factors coalescing together. I didn't really have the time to watch a race anymore. Nor did I really have the drive. Besides, it doesn't hurt or help that was probably one of the most lean parts of the NASCAR, the NASCAR history.
Hmm.
And it's like, but yeah, so I started pulling for Blaney, and he'd get a win here and there, every once in a while. Then he had that winless 22 with that weird All-Star win, and then 23 came around, and oh my God, that was so freaking cool. And I still kick my own ass to this day that I could not go to that damn Martinsville race. You have no idea. I have the diecast sitting in my kind of like my diecast display section. It's like this little armoire thing that I have going on here. It's actually really cool. But no, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I'm kind of just rambling here now.
You're good. Yeah. Yeah, so you got to see Blaney win last year, and you were kicking yourself for not getting to see it the year before. Um, do you feel that the advanced auto part scheme is cursed? Or, I mean, he's won in it twice now, but he's also almost died in it like 3 times, so.
I would honestly say that the curse has been lifted at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, there for a long time. Yeah, no, that bitch was straight up cursed.
Yeah, that Daytona wreck was, oof, that was brutal 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. I think I remember seeing a clip of it after the race, and because I didn't get to watch the race, because I think I was at work at the time, and I was just like, "Yeah, that was a hell of a hit."
Yeah, those tires came off the ground. That was crazy.
I'll never understand how some of those guys walk away from the crashes that they do. I mean, other than the safety enhancements that have been made in the past 20 or 30 years or so, some of those accidents that they go through, like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, so moving away from motorsports here, let's get into NR 2003. With the first question being, how did you get into it and when?
Oh dear, yeah. We got to go all the way back to about 2006. Yeah, so and it's kind of start and stop there for a while. Okay, so I downloaded the demo in 2006, and I was just like, because I was still kind of like in my contrarian phase, where I was just like, yeah, NASCAR Thunder was so great, and what's this NR 2003 thing? Now all it was just cope that I couldn't afford it, but it was like, yeah, so I had to download the demo in 2006, and I didn't really try looking for competition until the summer of about the summer of '07, when I obtained a copy of the full game of NR 2003, and I think probably about November '07-ish, I kind of did a Google search of leagues, and I was just kind of trying to, like, yeah, let's see which ones, are completely intimidating. And I came across a league called Pigs Racing, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Pigs
Yep.
Racing or not.
Oh, yeah, I have
Oh,
tons
so
of the
you
tracks,
have.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember when some of those tracks were being made, but yeah, so I stumbled upon Pigs Racing, and I was just like, okay, let's kind of see what's going on here. And, I signed up for it, and I sucked because, I was racing on a joystick at the time, and I didn't have a wheel. I didn't have any kind of environment where I could actually be a decent sim racer. Like, imagine that, right?
Oh, you were, what, 13, 14 at the time?
14.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're still pretty young at that point.
Oh yeah, I mean, because see, it's like I think about that, and I think about some of these kids you see on iRacing now who have these full rigs and they're supported. I'm like, what? Where was all this when I was young? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it wasn't a big thing yet.
I was just told it was a dumb game, and really, I guess in a way it was. But I mean, like, damn.
Yeah, well, they do that stuff for iRacing, so I think like this kid's actually in eCoke now. I think he might be 18 or 19 now. It's been a few years, but I would watch Derek Justice stream on Twitch back. This was like maybe a little before COVID or like after COVID or something. But anyway, he started racing this. There was this squeaker on there because he was only like 14 at the time. His name was Donovan Strauss, and he was really good.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was 14 at the time, and he was like competing with like Derek and these other top guys in like the public lobbies, and I was like, damn. And I heard his voice, and I was like, damn, this kid's young, like he's just a squeaker. And then, yep, a few years later, it's like, yep, he's in Coke now. It's like, of course.
Okay, I didn't know Donovan was that young. Holy shit.
Yeah, I think he's got to be 18 by now. I think it's been that long. I mean, I'm getting towards 30. I'm losing track of time, so I think he's at least graduated high school now. I don't know. I don't follow him that closely.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, so the I remember him from FTF in 2021, their GNS series, and I remember him coming in and kicking everybody's asses, and I was like, that's why I know that name from, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know. It's like Parker White. It's like,
Parker
what's a
White
couple
came
other
out
names?
of nowhere too the last few
That he
years.
did. Good God, that he did. Man, I tell you, like, FTF really spawned some kind of big names, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny like seeing a lot of the guys that ran FTF on NR that moved to iRacing, and then there's some guys that like they went to iRacing, but then they just kind of disappeared. One name that comes to mind for me is Taylor Morgans, because I remember Taylor was so good, and then he got iRacing, and I had heard like, oh yeah, he's up to like 4,000 already or something like that, and then like I never saw him like in pro or coke or anything. It's just like, man, he just kind of disappeared. And then
I feel like my bad.
no, you're good. And then I was just gonna say like Isaac Gann was in coke, and then I don't know the details because I'm not close with him, but I heard through Derek that he had some medical thing come up, and he had to stop racing coke, and I haven't seen him on the service since.
I was gonna say, yeah, Taylor Morgan's. That name sounds really familiar for some reason. And then you started name dropping guys like Justice, Isaac Gann. Oh God, yeah, Justice. Oh God, he is chill as hell, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to watch his stream so much. He doesn't stream anymore. Like he'll stream bowling here and there, but like ever since he fell out of coke and couldn't get back in through pro, I have not seen him stream iRacing at all. So I think maybe he just finally hit the burnout cliff that is sim racing at times for some of us, and he just has been taking a break. I think he spots for Daniel Falkingham or something. I think that's what I heard, but otherwise I don't see him really race.
I can't say I blame him. I mean, you look at what you have to do to get into Coke, and you basically have to treat it like a full-time job. I mean, and I can't necessarily blame him for deciding, hey, I don't know him personally, and I don't know why he just decided to say, yeah, heck with it. But if if you kind of think about it, it's like you would think that he would just be like, you know what, I'm happy with what I've done. That's just kind of it. Like, I'm done with the grind. And you see that a lot with Cup drivers. You see it a lot with Xfinity drivers who have the big schedules, and they're just like, yeah, I'm happy with what I've done. This grind is just not for me anymore.
Yeah, and I totally feel the same. I've been this fall. I'm racing at a bunch of leagues just because I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like I'm gonna run. I've been running fast on Sundays, and then I've been broadcasting with a buddy of mine at Hobo on Tuesdays. And now it's like, I'll run this other league on Mondays and this league on Wednesday. I'll run one last season, and then next year I'm planning to spend my nights on other things. So I'm only gonna be doing like one night of racing during the week next year, and maybe a night or two of broadcasting. And other than that, like I'm just like like it's a commitment, like it's like, well, like, do I want to race for wins? Like, yeah, but I kind of want to race for the championships more. Like, I've won so much now. Like the wins don't really mean as much as they used to. You know what I mean? Like you definitely probably got to a point where you were like, I don't really need to win this race. Like, I just kind of want the championship now. And then you get the championships and you're like, well, no, I don't really need to win another one.
Oh no, I'll be honest with you. Every single win, I don't care what it is, I celebrate it like it's the last.
Okay.
It's like, because you don't know when the last one is going to be, and I was actually going to mention that I haven't won a race in a league in almost 5 years.
That's a long drought.
Yeah, it's like, well, the past 10 years have been pretty crazy. Probably shouldn't say past 10 years. Past 9 years have been pretty crazy. A lot of things pulling me in different directions, and it's like, I just really haven't been able to focus on it. But
Yeah.
that's a long ass story, and I don't
Yeah,
know if
so
that's
that's fine. But so
yeah.
anyway, we can get back to more what we were talking about. So you found pigs. Do you remember what your first race looked like with them? Number, mod, track, how you did, or is that just like that's 18 years in the past? Kind of hard to remember.
I very vaguely remember it. So it was I raced the number 92. Been a number that's come up a lot. I think it was the Pigs SS series in like November 2007. I don't remember the track, and they used the original Cup mod for that series. And yeah, big surprise, I racked out.
Did
Because
you?
actually,
No,
before
go
we did
ahead.
this interview, okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
It
it just
happens. Just
popped
go.
up. Yeah. So I actually went and looked on archive.org, trying to dig up. So like, when the heck was my first race at Pigs? And then I'm kind of just going off of what I found on there. Like I said, I mean, it's like you said, it was 18 years ago. I don't really remember it all that well, but I do remember the first win. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, so that's actually the next question. So how did you get your first league win?
I think I'm actually going to answer two questions with this one. So, it was the Pigs SS series in 2009. I might end up answering three questions with this.
That's fine. I
So,
got them all in my face too. So
so okay, so Pigs SS series, sometime probably about the middle of 2009. It was almost two. It was about a year and a half after I started at Pigs. It was at a track called Ozark KRT. I have no idea if you know what that track
I've
is.
never heard of that one.
It is a super high. It is like a 2.5 mile 1995 homestead with a shit pile of banking.
Okay,
I actually have the track sitting around on my hard drive. I don't know where, but it's somewhere. So
might be a forgotten gem because I don't know if I've ever heard of that one before today.
yeah, I think you could find it if you go digging on like the archives and shit like that. But it's whatever. But anyway, I won that race. I had this trimmed out setup from somebody who I would basically call my first mentor, Steve Zaker, who also went by the name Squid for his cat.
Okay.
Yeah, he gave me this really super trimmed out. The guy was like an unkillable demigod on super speedways, and he raced on a keyboard.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was a total plate merchant. He wasn't worth a damn anywhere else. And I hate to say that about him, but let's face facts. I mean, there's tracks I suck at too, like Iowa. But no. So he gave me this really super trimmed out setup, and I was just like, all right, well, let me see what I could do with this. And it was like a field of 8. I mean, it wasn't a super big field. It never was in those days, especially not at a niche league like Pigs. And it was like, dang, I did this. Like, I want to race. Man, like, God, it's like recalling that. it was like, wow. I still can't believe I pulled that off.
How did you do it? We were able to hold the lead pretty much most of the race?
Basically, it well-timed cautions, which was like every 5 laps, and because you had guys on different equipment, different setups, didn't know how to hold onto a car. It was a bunch of old fogies racing in that league. So yeah, didn't really have to worry about fuel, didn't really have to worry about pit strategy or anything. Just kind of had to hold the joystick forward and go. And when I was on a joystick, I ran a ton of steering assist because you had to.
Yeah.
You couldn't really, you didn't really have any fine control over it. So you had that, and then you had kind of being terrible at sim racing to begin with at that point, and then it's like, dang, I just won this race.
Right on, yeah. Yeah, do you remember if you ran low linearity with the joystick or no?
I think I did. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really remember the settings from when I ran a joystick because it was pretty shortly after that I got my Logitech Momo, and then and I ended up running that for a couple years, and then I ran a DFGT, and then I got a G27 not long after that, and now I got my Thrustmaster T300 RSGT with the Ferrari Alcantara wheel that kind of just sits around and collects dust now because I don't really race anymore.
Mm-hmm. So the Thrustmaster wheel, do you have load cell pedals with that, or are they just the standard pedals?
No, I just have the stock pedals. I didn't really see investing in load cell pedals, especially when I was kind of like in the
You were going
twilight.
out.
Yeah, I was kind of going out, and I didn't really. And I just started a new job. Okay, that's a whole explanation on its own. But long story short, I started a new job, and I was finally making pretty good money after about like freaking almost 10 years of working crappy minimum wage jobs, just kind of scraping by. I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna splurge. I'm gonna get this Thrustmaster T300 because the person at the league I was running at the time, Osral, it's a online speedway racing leagues. It's kind of a sweaty league, if you know what I mean.
Okay,
But
iRacing?
yeah, this is when kind of NR 2003 and iRacing start kind of blending. But it's like, so I got the T300, and then I just kind of stopped caring.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, so I've been running a G29 now for the last 7, 8 years. I actually bought a new one at the end of last year, summer of last year, when they had a huge deal. So I got it for like 100 off. And then I've been running Thrustmaster TLCM load cell pedals for going on, I think next spring it'll be 3 years. And I've gotten so used to them. I would never switch off of these. Like, I've just gotten so used to them. Like the balance of like the amount of balance I need for like trail braking, I've like just really figured it out, and it's just so comfortable for me. I actually got Dun LaPrade to make the switch because his pedals were giving him problems on his Logitech, so he's recently made the switch to the TLCM pedals, and I'm curious to see if he'll get any faster or more consistent once he gets used to them, because it took me about 3 to 6 months to really get fine-tuned with them. But they are a game changer, I will say, when it comes to throttle brake control.
Yeah, I mean, if I really start sim racing again, like going as hard as I used to, I'd probably end up picking a set of them up because, I mean, the default pedals or the stock pedals, they're all right. But, I mean, I've heard guys buying the load cell pedals and just instantly consistent. Just, you pick up your consistency so much. Like, it's almost inhuman in a way. Like, just from how I've heard guys talk about it,
Yeah, I mean they made me so much better. It's ridiculous. I wouldn't run like a lot. Like after COVID, I'd say like 2020, 21, 22. I didn't run like too much, but I was at the point where I could win like 30 races a year, and like just contend at most places. But the Logitech pedals only work so well. I wasn't using the brick that's the brake. I was just using the clutch because I had more range. But once I switched to the load cells here, it's funny. I won the first race I ran with them because the guy I was racing made an extra pit stop at Road America. I was able to stretch it on gas because I was using so little brake because I wasn't used to the pedals yet. So I was able to save like the half lap I needed, and he ended up stripping a gear trying to chase me down. So I won my first race with the pedals, funny enough. But like since then, like I've gotten so good. It's like the muscle memory really. Like I can take like 2 months off and come back and still be all right.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned muscle memory. It's like I tried to, I've been running. What sim racing I've been doing has been iRacing basically since 2019, and it's like I try to go back to Inter 2003, and it's like, yeah, okay, I could run pretty good, but I can't do the things with the pedals I used to. Like especially not that I'm running a completely different set of pedals. Although when I was at Melancar, I was still running my G27, which also is really confusing because it's the same G27 I won all those races at Fast with. But I'd been out of the game for so long because when I left at Air 2003, when I left Fast, that was it. Like, it took Tyler Mallon pulling me back into it to kind of get me back into Enter 2003, and even then that was short-lived.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I remember you came back, and I didn't really know who you were, but I had heard you were good, and you were kind of, still, you were rusty when you came back, so I was like, well, he doesn't seem that good. That was, like, kind of my thought process. I was like, it's not as good as he used to be, I guess, but, yeah, Rust is no joke.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, I think probably I picked the worst race to come back that I could have, Iowa. I fucking hate that track, and you can censor that if you want.
No.
I don't know how you feel about swearing. It just comes out.
General swearing.
No, yeah, okay. But no, it's like I am so bad at Iowa. I hate that track. And would you believe that was the last race I won last track I won a race at?
Yeah, it's funny. Funny how that works out, huh?
Man.
I used to hate Charlotte for the longest time. I don't know what it was I was doing, but we would get in a run, and I would just get tight coming off of turn 4. I think I was steering too much looking back. I was just steering too much coming off of 4, and I would always get tight and go up into the wall and then crash. And I hated that track for the longest time. Now I look at my stat sheet, and it's like the top 5 wins on like ovals for me on the game, which is funny.
It's how I felt about Dover for the longest time. I used to hate that track.
I still hate Dover. I can run good at it, but Tyler and Jovan Anderson, aka Richard Johnson, you might remember him by. They're so good at Dover and open setup. I think we did a long run race at Bomb Squad a year ago, and Tyler and Jovan were bumper to bumper pretty much the whole run. I finished third, last car on the lead lap, and Tyler was about to lap me after like a 100 lap run. Like I just could not hang after like halfway through the fuel run. I just got so tight loose. It was not even funny.
And see, that's the thing about Dover. You really have to know how to kind of roll. You have to know how to roll the center because the exits are going to bite you in the ass every single time if you don't. And it's not knocking anybody's driving talent or skill or anything. I mean, Dover is just a hard fucking track to learn. Like, it's such an ultra specific line you have to run. It's like you kind of have to wash up a little bit in the center and then diamond on the way out. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Dover's such a weird track, but I love it.
Yeah, it's like Darlington too. Like I do a lot better at Darlington though than Dover, but Darlington, like you have to hit the line just right, especially going through 1 and 2, and then coming off of 4, you have to be careful. Otherwise, a lot of people tend to self-spin off of 4.
Mm-hmm. No, I know exactly what you're talking about with Darlington. That's one of the tracks I cannot figure out.
But yeah. So funny story about getting used to the load cells. Before I got the load cells, I was really good on the road courses, and then I got the load cells, and I just got better and better and better. And like, I'm not even tooting my own horn because someone else said this, but Jack Merkel called me the SVG of NR about a month ago because in this whole year, I think I've only lost one road course race, and it was to Jack at Road America. Doing part, he doesn't use auto clutch, so he was getting better shifts on the straightaways, and that's huge at a track like Road America, you know. And then I had some aero damage for sure. Like I was down a mile an hour or two, and the car felt a lot tighter, but I was still like right up his ass like the whole last run. But we ran at this league called Fuel. You might remember Fuel because it was the brother sister league to Fast back in the day.
Yeah, I remember Fuel, and I've seen Tyler's interview.
Okay, so yeah,
Good.
so we ran Watkins Glen on Wednesday. We ran Watkins Glen 2011, best Watkins Glen version in my opinion, and I made an track I&I change to that track a few years ago where the tires don't heat up as bad. They still heat up good, but they don't heat up like as bad, so you can run a little harder. But there's so much tire fall off. There's like 3 seconds of tire fall off, and you can barely make it on a fuel run, or the right front will blow. But so anyway, that's not really the point I'm trying to get at. So I restarted behind Tyler Stallhood Wednesday night at one point, and I was just chilling the whole lap because it was, with where the restart was, it was going to be close to make it on gas. So I was running at like 65-70% pace, and I'm just watching him, and he's all over the place doing his best. He wanted to lead one lap on the green, and he's all over the place, and I'm just chilling. I'm not even really using second gear, and I'm keeping up, and I'm just like, this must be what Brandon Hawken felt like when he would get chased by guys all the time, because it's like Brandon was so on rails. It's like you would try everything to get by him or stay in front of him, and like he would be so on rails, and it's like, man, I just did the same thing behind Tyler. Like I was just chilling, and like I'm watching him swerve all over the place. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, something like that. The best thing to do if you have any kind of archive like archive replays of Brandon Hawken, just study it. Watch what he does on the road courses.
Oh yeah, that was like the best thing is just follow Brandon, and I feel like I can do the same thing for guys now since Brandon's like all on iRacing. He makes like 1 or 2 rare NR appearances like a year or two, it seems. He didn't make one this year, but like if you can just follow the guy for like a lap or two and try to like hit his braking zones, like you can kind of see what he's doing. But the telemetry, I feel like, really plays in, and I actually streamed that race Wednesday night, so I like being able to stream when I can, especially the road courses, because a lot of people struggle with the road courses on NR and say that they drive like shit because they can't figure it out, because it's I don't, it's not really that realistic for the time. When you look at how they drive on iRacing, they drive like way different. So like if someone cares enough that they want to get really good on road courses on NR03, like I'm glad to have streams up there and hot laps on my channel that can just show like this is like the trail braking I'm doing. Like this is what I'm doing with the throttle and the wheel, like cuz sometimes you have to like jerk the wheel and then straighten the wheel and hit the gas to get the car to rotate right, and then not spin out in the process, which takes a good bit of repetition to get it right. Otherwise, you just spin out.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about because, okay, so I'm in this league now. I actually did join another league, but it's an iRacing league. It's called Court. And
Core?
yeah, they're kind of Court.
Oh, Court.
No, not Core.
Okay.
No, not
Core.
Core. I'm not good enough to get in Core.
Okay.
But, no, it's called Court, and they have a Blue Sky account where you can see like the results and stuff. I haven't actually raced there yet, and they're going to Watkins Glen this Wednesday, and I've been running laps on, because they're using the 2003 Cup car, and I'm just running laps, and it's Watkins Glen, and I'm just like, nothing I did in NR 2003 works. Like, see, that's a lot of it too, is like, what you do in Enter 2003, and it's kind of adding to what you were saying just a second ago. What you did in Enter 2003, so much of it, and I could see why Brandon doesn't really run Enter 2003 anymore, because a lot of what you do in Enter 2003 does not carry over to iRacing at all. You will crash. You will spin if you try to do the stuff you do in Enter 2003.
Yeah. And which is funny because when he comes back, he came back here and there. He actually ran a few races in Fuel in the first season 2 years ago. He ran Kansas with us, Game Track. He ran Darlington Game Track with us. He ran the Watkins Glen I talked about. And he won. I don't know if I don't remember if he won the Kansas race or not, but he won like 3 of the like 4 or 5 races he did, and then he just stopped. Like he was like, "Yep, I don't need to keep racing here and just run away with the title." Like he just kind of stopped, and I think he made one random appearance at Bomb Squad or something last year, but he does like real race car stuff now. He got into one of those like I forget what the program's called. I follow it on X, but like he's doing pretty well for himself. So he's living the dream.
That's what it sounds like. I think the last time I talked to him, it was, oh hell, I want to say
It's hard to get in touch with him too. Like he does not answer anything, dude. Like I want to.
I can't even necessarily say I blame him either. There's a lot of snaky motherfuckers in this community.
Okay. I want to interview him because I feel like it'd be a great fun interview, but he doesn't answer Discord, he doesn't answer Twitter, he doesn't really answer Facebook. So it's like, I heard he answers emails, but it's like, man, his email ain't anywhere. Like I'd email him, but I couldn't find his email. I left a message on a YouTube video saying, "Oh, that should send an email notification," but I haven't heard anything. I should maybe go check that video and see if he replied, because sometimes YouTube don't give you notifications. But yeah, he's a tough one to get in touch with, but I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, there's so much going on in the community these days. Like, it sounds like he just kind of wants to be low key, and that is, I vibe with that, like, 100%.
Yeah. So let's get back into you a little bit here. So you would say the 92 was your preferred number when you would run?
Yes. So it was 92 there at first, but lately it's been 38 because, it's
Oh
lucky
boy.
after all.
I know a guy who likes to run 38.
Mm-hmm. It's about a kind of, I think I know who you're talking about, but go ahead.
Robert Kubat.
Okay, no, I don't. Okay.
What other guy were you thinking of?
Actually, I don't even know. I was just kind of seeing, I was kind of baiting what you were saying there.
Okay. But so anyway, 92, 38. So why the switch to 38?
Well, it's lucky after all, lucky 38. If you get what I'm saying, I'm a huge Fallout New Vegas fan, if you can't tell by my Discord avatar.
Okay, I wasn't sure what that was from.
Well, it's a Fallout thing. I'm not going to say I'm a Fallout New Vegas fan. I'm more of a Fallout 3 fan these days. And Fallout 3 is 76. Yeah, that's a whole other chapter of my life. I don't know if that's appropriate for a racing Discord podcast thing, but that's like, yeah.
All right, so 38 because of Fallout then? Lucky 38.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so funny about the 92 is there are 2 people, actually 3. I don't know if one of them actually ever ran 92, but there are 2 people that I've come to know that like to run the 92. One of them, his name is Joshua Clements. He runs the 92 pretty much everywhere. And then there's a new person who's been in the community for a few years. They're still pretty young. Kirsten Bell. I've seen them run the 92, but they also run other numbers, I think. But so those are 2 people that I see run the 92. Not a very popular number, that's for sure.
No, I think the only reason why I ran 92 with pigs was because it was like the only thing that was available that sounded good. I was just like, oh yeah, 92. And actually, funny thing is, before I forget to mention it, because I will forget to mention it because I forget a lot of things. So when I was at Pigs, I ran a 92 and actually ran a reverse Kevin Harvick scheme, like the Coca-Cola C2 scheme, if you remember them. And if if you remember this name or not, or if you even know this name or not, Richard Hildebrandt actually made the scheme.
Okay, yeah, I remember Richard. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, he was kind of a nice dude. I just never really. Once I left Pigs, I didn't have a thing to do with him. I had him on Facebook. I had Gons. I had all those guys. But yeah, I
What
won't get too much into that because we're kind of
Richard
getting off topic.
was Richard Paint by Raw?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
I
yeah,
actually,
he did some for me back in the day when I would use his service. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the things I think he traced a lot of them. I'm not
Oh,
100% sure,
I
but
don't know if we want to throw that out there, but
after the bus, he was actually a really nice dude. But I mean, he's an older guy. Like, he didn't care. Like, uh, who cares, right? Like,
yeah, he's putting them up there for free. All
man,
those
that's all
bases.
he's always doing. He's just making stuff. And he did. He basically made my first custom in our 2003 scheme.
Okay, yeah,
But
nice.
that was such a long time ago. I barely remember what it looked like, other than what I just told you.
Yeah, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, there's some old painters I remember when I got into the community in like 2014, 2015. I don't really know if they're really around anymore, but I remember the first paint scheme I ever asked for. I looked back at it, I think last year, and I was like, man, this thing's ugly as hell. I can't believe I liked this 10 years ago. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I was like, man, this thing ugly as hell. But I guess I was just happy to have like my first paint scheme for the game. So,
Oh God, yeah, that's exactly it. You go back and you look at a lot of your early stuff, and you're just like, how did I ever think this looked good? This looks like crap. This looks like actual dog crap. Like, what the hell did I make? What did I make? What did I make? Like,
so I'll send you a picture of it. I still have a picture of it. So this was the first car I ever requested. This is what I wanted. So the guy did exactly what I wanted. I
you know
thought
what?
I thought it was great at the time. It doesn't look that bad. Like it's not that bad, but
It's
like
not horrible. No, it's not horrible at all, actually. It's for a basic scheme, that's not bad. And I really hope you show this in a YouTube video.
yeah, we'll
But
put this up in the YouTube video. But so just to talk about it, so I can find it. So it's a Chevrolet number 3, a Quaker State on the hood with K&N logo on the back. It's like fire coming out of like the filter or whatever that is. But the thing that like I find funny about it, so the car is primarily black with orange around the bumper fender, and then there's a line that goes up around to the back, and then the spoiler's orange. The number is green to match the Quaker State, the outline of the number. So it's white number with green outline. So it just looks so off. Like it should have just been like orange outline to match the design, but instead it matches the hood logo. So
I see what you were going for here. Like, no, I see what you're going for here. You said you wanted a K&N. All right, you had that. You had the orange stripe, but then you had the Quaker State logo. You had the green threes. It's like,
I
yeah,
forget who
this would
painted
never
it.
happen in real life. Like, no way. Like, these are two completely different. These are competing companies here. This would never happen in real life. And it's like a lot of your early schemes. You look back and you see a lot of this kind of thing, like competing sponsors and all this stuff. You're just like, this would never happen.
Oh, I think K&N, to me at the time, K&N, I was like, oh, it's just filters and car parts and stuff. And Quaker State's oil, so I was like, I thought it'd be all right, but I didn't realize
See, I
that.
didn't even know Quaker State made oil filters. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't. But until I actually no, I don't. I actually still don't know. Let me Google that later. But yeah,
Yeah, so that was the first paint scheme I ever asked for someone to make, so I loved it at the time. Though it's funny thinking about it. I forget if the ID is on there or not. TD, I'm trying to remember who TD was. I think that was who the painter was. I don't remember. There was like some weird request website that there was like 2 guys. God, I don't remember what their names were. It was such an obscure website I randomly found back then. It's funny.
let's see if you remember this one. Tanner's Render Shop.
Vaguely sounds familiar, yeah. Yeah, Tanner's Render Shop. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when he was making it, and it was kind of like I don't think he ever beta tested it. I think he just kind of posted it on Sim Racing Design. Yeah, that's a whole other story on its own.
Oh god, I
Yeah.
SRD. Oh yeah.
I was a mod there for like a couple years, and I have no idea how the hell hot-headed 17-year-old me ever made mod there, but yeah. I guess it's because Mattio was an ass and I was an ass, and I guess it just fit.
Yeah, he was more like a douche in my opinion than an ass, but I
He
guess it's
could
all
be.
the same. But
I don't know, like he could be an ass. Like he was an ass, and yeah, no, that's basically the best way to put it. He was a douche and he was an ass, but if he liked you, he liked you.
yeah,
If he liked you, he liked you. If that makes sense. I released the button. I didn't know if it came through, so I had to say it twice. Uh,
no worries. Okay, so let's get into some fun stuff. So first let's talk about who the first person you butted heads with was. So like, who was your first like big confrontation, like big argument over
oh
something on
dear.
track?
Oh dear God! It depends on what era you're talking about, but I'll go all the way back to the pigs era just to keep things consistent. So, okay, let me see. I had it in my notes here. Let me see. Okay, so it was a man named Wayne Pribb. Now I don't know. I
Oh,
highly
I
doubt you know who that
feel
man
like
is.
I've heard of that name before, but I don't know if I've ever raced with him. But I feel like I've heard of that name. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. So I can't remember what track it was. We got into it. He, we were kind of racing each other kind of hard, and I was on a joystick at the time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So after the race, I think we ended up wrecking each other. Might have been something like that. Like I said, long time ago, fuzzy on the details. Well, we got into it on the forums. Yeah, big surprise, me getting into a fight, right? But but he says he accused me of enjoying pissing others off, and
you were a rage baiter.
at the time, yeah, it kind of just settled down into general assholery there for a while. But at the time, yeah, I kind of enjoyed. I kind of enjoyed picking fights. I was a dumb kid. I think we've all had those. I think we've had all those. We've had all those points in our lives where, we're all just kind of like shitheads, basically. And yeah, I was kind of picking fights with him, and I don't really remember the specifics of it because, like I said, it was so long ago. But that for some reason that stuck out to me so much. That still sticks out to me to this day. That I remember him saying that I enjoyed pissing others off. Not true. I just liked picking fights at the time. Not so much anymore, but gotten older. You know how that is.
Yeah. Yeah, you get to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't that fun anymore. This is actually kind of a headache. I don't want to do this
Yeah.
anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like after a while, it's like and everybody goes through it. You get to that age where you're getting older. Your priorities shift. You're just like, why am I picking fights over a fucking video game? Like, what? This is so dumb. Like, why?
Yeah.
I think I kind of clicked in my mid-20s eventually. After I'd left Fast and all that, and I was just like, this just ain't worth burning bridges over anymore. But
Yep.
it is what it is.
So who would you say your main rival was? And you can do. I guess we'll go to Fast for that question. Who was your main rival at Fast?
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, really.
Well, who did you enjoy battling with, and who did you hate battling with? I guess it's like the good question there.
I hated battling. I'm going to answer the first one. I'm going to answer the second one first. I hated battling with the primetime guys.
Okay.
Brandon, Davey, Tommy, especially Tommy.
Tommy Bordeaux.
We never got. Yeah, Tommy Bordeaux. We never got along. I think we exchanged a few heated DMs, and we raced each other really hard. And same thing with Davey. We got into fights sometimes. I mean, it wasn't all the time, but it was sometimes. And I never really got into a fight with Brandon, but
how could you?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's one thing that always confused me about Brandon is And that's why I didn't really know how to react to him half the time, because it's just like the guy could be the biggest bonehead on the racetrack and then to be the nicest guy off of it. And I'm just like, this is confusing me. Like, you're so inconsistent. Like, what is going on here? But no, it's like, so, like I said, I had Davey, Brandon, Tommy, I'm sure Tyler talked about a little bit about our run-ins, and a lot of that, and this is something I haven't really told a lot of people, is a lot of that I was going through a lot at the time, like 2016, 2017, all of that. I just moved back out on my own. I'd went through a really nasty breakup at the beginning of 2017. And I'm kind of leading up to what ended up kind of making me leave fast.
Okay.
And you work at at the time I was working at McDonald's. Yeah, you can already see where this is going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't really have, when you work at a place that is very backstabby, you couldn't trust anybody, it kind of bleeds over to your personal life, right? And, well, for some people it does, some people it doesn't. For me, it did. And you kind of just, you see things. You see things that you don't really realize that you're seeing until way after the fact. Or you do and you don't, and it's confusing. But it's like, okay, so you have that. You have guys that come in and, okay, so perspective. You have guys that come in from Reddit who you think they come in and act like they own the place. Perspective again. I feel like I have to keep having to say that. It's like I'm saying this from my perspective at the time. It's like you have guys that come in, they're acting like they own the place. Yeah, you kind of have to, like you're standing there, you're trying to protect your territory a bit. You know what I'm saying, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it didn't help that Randall always ran his fucking mouth, but
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That didn't help in the slightest bit looking back on it. And I think a lot of that, and I'm not going to throw Randall under the bus 100%, but at the same time, that didn't help. But it was just like a lot of personal issues going on in my life at the time, and a lot of that just kind of bled into what I was doing at Fast, and you're seeing things that probably aren't there, and you're perceiving things that probably aren't there, and you're just like, yeah, it's like, damn, I can't trust any of these guys. I don't like them. I don't trust them. Again, perspective from 2017. And it kind of just bled into eventually, I was just like, I think, okay, so I'm going to jump a little bit further ahead in the timeline to about the end of 2018. It was actually my last race at Fast. It was a dirt race at New Hampshire. Yeah, think about that one for a second.
Oh, the Under Armour track or whatever it's called?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. It was something that Fuel was running that Randall decided to run in Fast because it was actually pretty good combination. When I was racing, we raced there and I led a few laps. So it was all right. But at the time, I think it was Tommy had been promoted to admin, right? And, you don't know a lot of what goes on behind the scenes, Randall's not really telling me a whole lot anymore, and you start to see things like you're just like, what's going on here? Again, trust issues are starting to crop up, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, I think the one defining moment I think I can remember from that race was we were coming to a restart. And it's so stupid. It's so fucking petty. But we were coming to a restart, and I didn't know we were getting ready to go green because really nobody had told me. So I was just like, oh, are we going to green? And Tommy's like, yeah. Like, duh. And I was just like, well, he didn't say duh. That's just me kind of adding on to that. But I was just like, what the fuck? Like, really? really? Come on, like, and then I'm just like, yeah, I ended up wrecking out of the race, and I sat there and I just thought to myself, I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So later that night, I told Randall, I was just like, you know, unassign my number. I'm done, and I left it. I left it at that. That was the last thing, basically the last thing I've ever said to him. And that was probably about going on next almost 7 years ago now. And and I sit there and I think to myself, and I remember I'm going to call back to his interview for a second because I remember this. I specifically remember this. He said something along the lines of he didn't really. He wishes I'd have come back and made amends with some guys. Well, and I'm not trying to throw gasoline on the flames, but I'm totally throwing gasoline on the flames when I say this, but the door's been open for 6 years. The door has 100% been open for 6 years. I'm open to a conversation. Like, I don't, I haven't seen anybody crossing that bridge. And I can't necessarily blame them either because, yeah, I was kind of burning some bridges at the time. Like, it's kind of a it's a snowballing issue that kind of neither side wants to budge, and it's crazy and confusing.
So
Yeah,
I like the whole concept of burned bridges and rebuilding bridges with people. I've burned my bridge at Bomb Squad like 3 times, and they're really old fashioned. So if you burn your bridge once, they won't let most people come back. You burn your bridge twice, well, they're definitely not letting you come back. You burn your bridge a 3rd time, they are absolutely not letting you come back. Well, they did. And I think that was because, the 3rd time, you talk and you talk and you really start to understand that, it's a lot of just dumb stuff that's causing you to get kicked out. For me, at least it was. And the head admin, Kevin Magarick, he goes by Magoo. Magoo was like, let's just rebuild that bridge. And it's like, yeah, like it takes, like I'm willing to rebuild that bridge. Magoo's willing to rebuild that bridge. Like we'll rebuild that bridge. And then, like otherwise you're just standing on both sides and you're like, like one side wants to build a bridge, but the other side is like, I'm not going to name names, but if anyone who knows, they'll get the reference to this. But there's a friend, and I really love this dude. And we had a bit of a falling out last year. Without going into details, it was pretty rough for me, mentally, emotionally, because I considered this guy like my best friend in the community. And I've been working and to rebuild that bridge, and then we were gonna rebuild that bridge. It looked like this year, and then like a month ago, I said something on my podcast that I think got misheard or misinterpreted.
that's usually how it goes.
Next thing you know, I'm blocked on Discord again, and just trying to like figure it out. And then 2 weeks later, I get a message on Facebook, and it's basically like a give up message. Like I did this to someone. I'm sad to say, last year I did this to another friend where I was like, I don't feel like I deserve you. Like I'm just screwing up and being an asshole to you. Like I don't deserve you as a friend anymore, and I ghosted him. And I regret that, But so like point being, it takes 2 to rebuild the bridge, and when you're the only one who cares to rebuild the bridge, it sucks when the other person doesn't. But so it sounds like, what you're saying, like you're both like waiting for the other one to respond or reach out. So, it's kind of like a weird thing where you're both like, well, do you want to rebuild the bridge first, or am I going to rebuild the bridge first? And it's like, you're just kind of at a standstill. But I just wanted to let that be known.
I guess what a lot of the fast guys, it really goes down to somebody on, a friend of mine, another friend of mine on, I think Blue Sky said it perfectly. It was just like, yeah, a lot of bridges can be rebuilt, but you have to kind of ask yourself, is it a bridge? Should you rebuild that bridge? And I don't know how to honestly answer that question. I don't. Like, it wasn't a toxic friendship by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know. Like, so much has changed since then. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. You have this a lot when you're talking about friendships and stuff. People grow, people change. And as the years pass, especially with people in your past, you come back to them and you're just like, how would you even talk to them now? Like, I mean, that's basically the best way I know how to put it. Like, it's a conversation that you don't really know how to have anymore.
Yeah.
But I guess really it boils down to, I guess somebody has to be the adult in the room and initiate the conversation. And well, you see how long it took me to kind of do this podcast.
Well, I would say
it was a couple of aborted attempts.
Yeah, well, like you were telling me you get not a lot of sleep. I mean, it's hard to talk about stuff when you're on poor sleep. I would say my opinion on the whole thing is why not? Like, why not just do it? Just like have that conversation and like instead of wondering like what could have been, like just have that conversation and then like if nothing comes out of it, then nothing came out of it. But you at least got to try to have it first, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's like I said, the door's been open. Like I will gladly, and that's how I've always been. If you want to have an honest conversation with me, I'm all for that. But don't beat around the bush.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but
So anyway, basically though, to round off on that little topic, so like you and Randall could talk, but neither of you have reached out to talk. So
yeah, but there was that one really awkward point where I applied for a job in 2019, and they called him for a job reference, and this is
he was
I burned all the bridges. Yeah,
he was on your reference list. Oops.
No, I'd actually taken him off the reference list because obviously, right? Because this is the tail end of 2019. This is months after I'd left Fast. This is months after I kind of burned everything down behind me. And It was just like he told my brother, who I think he's still somewhat friends with. Yeah, ironic, right? But it's like I don't even know if that made sense. It didn't. But
anyway, carry on.
Right, but it's like he told my brother that he gave me a good reference, but he wouldn't tell me. If that makes sense.
Because he wasn't comfortable reaching out to you, man.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, and nowadays, now I understand that. I don't know.
I would do the friend that I'm mentioning anonymously. I would do the same thing if I was on his references list for some reason. I would give him a good reference. Fuck yeah, I would. The thing, just to get in a little more detail, the thing that sucks is when like you try to talk to someone and then they just leave you on red. So like I got the one goodbye message and I send like 6 messages after and I just get left on red on all of them, and it's like, man, this is what I'm talking like. It takes 2. Like if I'm just sending messages and you're just leaving me on red because you don't want to talk about it, like I can't do anything about that. But it's like I told them, like, I might be mad at you right now, but like I still think of you like a brother. So like I hope it works out down the line.
That.
But it's tough. It's tough. We changed, like you
said.
It is.
No, you're right. It is, and it's like, and I don't think a lot of people. I've never really told this about a lot of people. I deal with a lot of anxiety. I do. Like,
I'm with you.
Yeah, you know how it is, and it carries over to a lot. And I don't know, like, I think that's okay. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. That's why I canceled the first 2 times. I couldn't do it. Like, I was just like, oh my God, what? You start overthinking everything, and you're just like, I can't do it. I'm just gonna say one thing, and then it's like, all right, yeah, I probably should just go ahead and do this. And I'm like, I really don't want to, and I'm like, but I should, but I want to, but I don't. I don't know.
It's all right. I get it.
Look, I don't deny.
We all struggle with that.
Tunes, but
yeah, we all struggle with the like canceling stuff and all that shit. Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, now you know why I canceled the first 2 times.
That's fine. It's fine. So let's get back into more NR stuff. I know we had a pretty good convo there about,
I
reaching
went
out.
off the rails there a bit. Like,
No, it happens. I ramble too, so. So you never told me who your positive rival was at Fast. Did you have one?
I don't think I had one actually.
All right. Well, let's
Because
just move past
if,
that then.
if I had a positive rival, they didn't stay rivals for long. If that makes sense.
I gotcha. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done on track?
Oh dear God.
With the main question being, have you ever intent wrecked somebody? Because we asked that on here. Every time.
Shit, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't. I mean, talking about intentionally wrecking, I don't think I can remember. Oh yeah. Oh no. I remember this one. I'm going to admit to something I did 13 years ago.
Okay. Nobody remembers this but you.
Yeah, right. But it directly affected the first Fast Under Armour Cup Series championship. I know it's Renegade Cup Series now, but that's what I remember it as, right?
Okay.
It directly affected the very first championship.
In Fast, we're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever done. And if Jeffrey McClintock happens to see this, yeah.
Oh, there's a name
I ran into your ass on purpose. I ran into you on purpose at Kentucky. Yeah, I didn't try to miss you. Yeah, so what happened was he was fighting Buddy Taylor for the inaugural championship. Jeffrey was being a little shit at the time. He was running around trying to start shit with Randall behind my back about me. So I was like, all right, you little motherfucker. All right, it's on now. So he just spun in front of me. I just let go of the wheel. Just ran right into him.
So he was already he was already around. You just plowed into him on purpose?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So this is a confession that has been 13 years in the making. Yeah, I intentionally ran into Jeffrey McClintock and cost him the 2012 Fast Cup Series championship.
You think he might have already been? You think he might have already costed it when he was spinning out, though? Or do you think he could have had a chance to go back up and get it if you hadn't hit him?
Oh, no, he was perfectly fine until I ran into him.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't have went as hard as I did, but...
Yeah, maybe try to hit the brake at the very last second, but yeah, you were just
I didn't.
Whatever.
I just let go of everything. I was just like, all right, this is going to happen now.
Oh, boy.
So I just ran into him. And, and I said something right now I probably shouldn't. But it's like, at the time, I was just like, yeah, fuck this guy. Because he was being a little shit. Nowadays, I don't know. I haven't spoken to the guy in 5 years. And even then, that was very, very briefly. We used to be really, really good friends, Jeffrey and I. But ever since, I don't know, he was kind of going around behind my back to Randall, bitching about stuff that he probably shouldn't have. And I didn't take too kindly to that. So he just, and I shouldn't even say I intentionally drove into him. It was just like, I didn't try to miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some big wreck on the backstretch, which at the time Fast was kind of famous for because, it was a lot of, it was just a bunch of guys racing. We weren't professionals. We were just kind of showing up to race and have a good time. The good time part being debatable sometimes, but he he'd gotten tagged in a wreck. He'd spun around. There was clouds, clouds of smoke. And I was just like, yeah, you're done. And I just ran right into him. So, yeah, that was a confession 13 years in the making.
All right. Well, moving on here. We'll get into some big questions here. What race win means the most to you?
Wow. Let's see, that's a tough one to answer. So
if you can't answer that one, what would you say the biggest race you won was?
It was kind of a personal redemption story. It was okay. So I don't know if you know I'm gonna kind of jump ahead to kind of when I started running iRacing more, but it's a story I like to tell because you'll when you hear it, you'll understand why I would enjoy telling it. But I ran for a league called Sim Racers for Mental Health. It's kind of part of my identity now. Like, I vibed with that whole mental health awareness thing, obviously, right? But no, so we would do endurance races on iRacing a lot. So we ran the 2019 24 Hours of Le Mans when they were still doing that. We ran the 2020 race. Well, we had a kind of a bit of a whole thing where, we almost won our split, but one of our drivers had a bad connection and we lost a lap, and yeah, it was not relevant. But so we got together to do the 24 Hours of Spa in 2020. Well, embarrassingly enough, okay, so we ran the Mercedes AMG GT3, had a really nice paint scheme done up. Biased. I didn't do the paint scheme at all, right? But I kind of threw the race away and wrecked us in turn one of a 24-hour race. Destroyed our car beyond repair. So, yeah, I was like, wow, nice. Okay. So, fast forward I think about a year later, we ran a Daytona 6-hour charity race and I was signed up to drive it for a team with the very same car. Well, we ended up winning our class. I mean, all I really had to do was show up and not wreck the car. The other two guys did all the work, but I don't know why, but for some reason that just sticks out to me because in a way it was like redeeming myself for that, completely destroying our race and just completely destroying our race and racking on lap one, and probably one of the most embarrassing things I've ever done in sim racing in general. Because it was just like we did weeks of preparation for this 24 hours of spa race. We had our shift schedules planned. We had the setup. We had this car trimmed out for the long run. We had all of this different stuff. I mean, obviously you trim a car out for the long run in an endurance race, but that's beside the point. But and just to throw it away on lap one because so we were going on to Radion. I started a race. I come through Eau Rouge. I don't know how to pronounce that. And when we started up to Radion, I'm pronouncing that wrong. I know I am. And the traction control kicked in. And our car just flew right straight into the inside wall. Yeah. So, yeah, that was embarrassing. And in a way, that was just, I don't know why that sticks out to me so much, but in a way, it was like redeeming a very, very embarrassing mistake, I don't know. Like, in a way, it was, I don't know.
Okay. So you guys, I might have zoned out on you there mid-story. So the mistake...
I ramble a lot, so I kind of probably lost the plot.
The mistake was at Spa, but so then where was the redeeming win? Was it also at Spa?
No, it was the Daytona 6-hour charity race that we put on, and
okay,
it wasn't like it was a hosted session. It didn't count for anything, but it was still kind of a way to redeem myself. I did that, and I don't know, like I don't know. It's what was going through my head at the time was just like, wow, I didn't tear the car up. At the time, God, I needed that confidence boost. I needed that confidence boost because there was just, like I said, in 2020, 2021, there was just a whole lot going on in my personal life. And really from 2017 to 2022-ish, it's kind of a blur in my head. Like a lot of that is, I've blocked out a lot of that in my memory other than kind of like some of the key points.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like it's for a racing podcast, it's way too much, but
Yeah, no, you're good. What would you say your biggest championship was?
Outdueling Brandon Hawken for the 2015 B Fast Under Armour Cup Series Championship. My 9 wins to his 8.
Oh, okay. Damn, yeah, 9-8. Oh, sounds like the fight. Was that straight up, or was there a playoff finale for that?
There was a playoff finale, and I that it was probably the most fun I've ever had in sim racing was going on this like Tony Stewart 2011 run in the chase. I was bringing my A game. I was working on this setup. Although I can't really credit a lot of what I did to my own setup prowess. I have to credit Ryan Pace. If you know that name, if
Yep.
you know that name, if you don't, you don't.
I didn't race against him much, but I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay, well, he built setups too. And he built some really damn clutch setups, like some of the most amazing stuff I've ever driven. And Revolution Motorsports, we brought our fucking A game. And we had to. Like, Brandon was on fire, and we had to really show up. Like, we had to bring our A game. And I remember there's this one, I can't remember if it was like 2 races before or if it was the race before the finale. It was at New Jersey Motorsports Park, if you know that track.
Yep.
The round that we were in, if I didn't win that race, I don't go to the finale. Like, it was kind of need to win. And Ryan brought this awesome setup. And we worked together. They got my ass into that Final Four. And we went to, I can't remember if it was Auto Club or Chicagoland. I think it was Chicagoland, actually. And I think Ryan gave me the setup for Chicagoland, and I kind of tweaked on it a bit. But, my 48 car, I was driving a 48 at the time. And we went to Chicagoland and basically whooped ass. Like, it was me, Austin, Randall, all of them. We went to Chicagoland and we kicked ass, and we had to. You have to bring your A game against Brandon Hawken, because if you don't, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that. You know that as well as I do. Like, somebody like that comes up, and you have to every single race. And I know I've probably said it already, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it again till the day I can't say words anymore. And yeah, like, you have to bring your A game against somebody like Brandon Hawken. And I did. I had to. And I won that championship. And ever since then, I've been chasing this. I don't know what it is. Like, whatever God mode I went into in that playoffs, I have not been able to find it since.
Yeah, you got that hot streak, and you can't find that hot streak again.
No, like, I think the last time I think one of the very last, the 50th win I got it fast was, I know, kind of going off topic again, I do that a lot, but it was at Phoenix. It was that race that I said I spent like 2 weeks building a setup for. I skipped races just to focus on this. Yeah, because at the time I was kind of running like this kind of half part-time, full-time schedule. I haven't been able to run full-time in a league since like 2015, so yeah. And that's one thing that a lot of people have figured out that I figured out early. And it's like I said, you have to bring your A game against Brandon Hawken, or you're going to get your ass kicked. And I did. I brought my A game. And ever since then, I have never been able to get back to that.
So talk about the Phoenix thing, though. So talk about that Phoenix win.
Oh yeah. So about the only thing I have left of that race is one shaky cell phone clip on my Google Photos where I made the pass for the lead. That race, okay. So I spent 2 weeks trimming out a setup that actually David Krikorian had said to me like 3 years before that. It was based off of a Derek Wood setup. If you know that name.
Nope.
You probably don't, but I was going to say you probably didn't, but it was another one of the. I don't know if you know the name David Krikorian or not. I think it's been brought up in other interviews before, but Yeah, he's a really good sim racer. He's probably one of the best I've ever raced against.
Okay.
But I haven't spoke to him in a long time, and that was my fault. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that because yeah, that's a
Let's
whole
talk
other
about the
tangent
Phoenix.
entirely.
Yeah, talk
Yeah,
about the Phoenix
Phoenix.
edit.
Yeah, you got to keep me on track, right? Like, but yeah, so I spun twice in that Phoenix race. And this was in September 2018, I believe it was. I don't have the date in front of me, but it was like September, October 2018ish. Actually, it was September. I remember now. But that car was so trimmed out that any kind of mistake in my driving, I would spin the car because it was just so on the edge. But that setup was so damn unbeatable. And, basically, okay, let's face it. Fast at the time, you could basically count and plan, or you could count on and plan around the cautions. You could plan around it. You could create strategies around it because you knew there were going to be a fuck ton of yellows. You knew that was coming. And you could just come in, throw tires on it, and, it's not like the fields were 30 cars. They weren't. They were like 15 cars. But that car was so trimmed out that I spun twice and still blew past Brandon like he was sitting still. Like, I remember, this is me remembering that clip, that one little shaky cell phone clip, and I might send you later if I remember to. It was heading towards the front stretch. I mean, we were heading out of turn 4 to the front stretch, and Brandon threw this mother of a block. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, Brandon, you really think I'm not gonna put it on the inside there? And this is what I'm just sitting there yelling because I'm in the moment. I'm hyped up. I'm like, let's go, let's get this. So, yeah, I cleared him, I think, going into turn 3. And yeah, after that, I, won the race. And I don't know, it's just like, it took so much to actually do that. I think that was about the point I started to realize it was like, I'm going to have to treat this like a full-time job to just kind of stay at this level, just to stay committed because, 2016, 2017, I left in 2016. I left after that championship season. Well, I was going to. Well, I was just like, well, heck with it. I'm going to give it another season in my own, on my own team. I'd left Revolution Motorsports. I'd kind of done that. And I remember specifically, and we've talked about this, well, not me, but me and the person I'm getting ready to mention, Tyler Stallhood. He and I had a conversation about it. Me and Austin Hayes ganged up together to do a team. I ran the 12 car, he ran the 15 car. I guess I was kind of telegraphing what driver I'd end up rooting for at the end, but so we did that. Yeah, I know. I'm jumping all the way back to 2016. We were talking about fucking Phoenix, but in a way, it's relevant, although it's not. But
anyway,
so
carry on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I had the big championship celebration. I was done. I thought I was done. I was just like, because Gordon was retiring, and my own interest was starting to decline in it. Anyway, it's, I guess, in a way, my interest in sim racing had been on life support for a while anyway. So, we ganged up together for a team, and the league, a lot of the Reddit guys like Tyler and all them threw a bitch fit about it because they were just like, oh, wait, no. And I think Tyler talked about it a bit, but you never really got the other side of it. In a way, it was just like, wow, way to make a guy feel welcome, like, I mean, I get it. You got a guy who shows up that, hard to beat. As much as I hate tooting my own horn on that accord, but you got a guy who shows up, says he's done, But then he's like, I'm gonna run another season for my own thing. I'm kind of not. I mean, we were affiliated with the Revolution and all that, but we were kind of doing our own thing at that point. And I think, hang on, I'm losing my thought here because I'm kind of getting into stuff that I'd kind of put behind me. So Stalled and I had a conversation months later. It's just like, wow, way to make a guy feel welcome. But I think a lot of that, after that championship season, and then kind of going through 2016, 2017. I think I actually ran the 31 in 2017. If that makes sense. It doesn't, but it does, but it doesn't, but it does, but whatever. But and I think eventually I went back to Revolution in 2018. And I started to run to number 25. It's kind of like how so that's kind of the story of how I left Revolution, then I went back, then I left again shortly after. But yeah, it's like that Phoenix win still sticks out to me so hard just because of what I had to put into it. Just because of what I had to do just to beat Brandon, who was really just tweaking. I think he said I can't really super remember, but he said he would get a setup and he'd tweak on it a little bit, but he wouldn't put nearly as much work into it because, let's face it, he didn't have to. And how much you had to do to be the top dog and fast, I think that inevitably is what led me to just like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I don't put that much effort in the open setup anymore. I was putting in effort maybe a year or two ago like that, and now it's just like, well, now I have all the setups that I feel like I've trimmed out as good as I can, so then I just show up and run those, and I might make a small change here and there, but not really. I just show up and
don't
run
ever,
them.
don't ever do what I did and took Enter 2003 setup, not setup analyzer, but the replay analyzer. Yeah, Enter 2003 replay analyzer.
Yeah.
It had telemetry functions, and you could turn on the telemetry to save to the replay. You could kind of look and see what it was doing. I don't know how much good it was actually doing, but I was kind of setting up for 20-lap runs. But yeah, I mean that's the story of my last ever win in an Air 2003 in 2018, almost getting on about 7 years ago at this point.
Right on. Well, let's try to get you back on a more on-track question.
Right. Like, sorry, I ramble so much. Like, that's just me, though.
That's fine. So this is the last big question. So it's just, and I'll do this one at a time so we don't get you all over the place. But it's a favorite mod, favorite track, what your favorite league to race at was, or you could say what your favorite league at iRacing is now, and then your favorite physics or your favorite car on iRacing, however you want to do it.
I will forever simp for the superspeedway.net car of tomorrow.
All right.
I will always simp for the Cup physics. The GNS, the CTS, and the PTA physics drive like plowy crap boxes. Sorry, I'm trying to cut the amount of time I'm swearing, but yeah, it's like, yeah, the GNS, the CTS, especially the CTS, they plow. And you know what I'm talking about. They're underpowered. They have no power to them. They suck to drive.
I don't drive. I've never really driven GNS much, but CTS I've driven a lot.
You should you count your blessings, definitely, because it sucks. I think it sucks. Other guys like it, but obviously every driver has their preference.
I like CTS. I like CTS if it's loose. If it's loose, I'll run CTS. I don't care if it's drafty at that point, but I'll run it if it's loose. If it's a tight setup, no. I
don't care, loose or tight. It has no power. It drives like it just. It drives like the next gen does in iRacing now. If you know what I'm talking, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I've never driven the next gen in iRacing, but I bet
it feels like it has no power. You can't put the power down at all because it has no power. You have to shift in the corners, like say at Martinsville. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and tell another story real quick
Actually,
because
Gateway tonight at Fast, we're running CTS because we run CTS at some oddball tracks, and it's going to be
I feel so sorry for you.
it's a shift setup. It's a shift setup. I've run it the last 2 years, and I it works great for me, but it's a shift setup.
I feel so sorry for you. My heart breaks because you're gonna, if you don't like. Okay, so the GTS, the GNS, and CTS physics, it's worse than the cup physics in that you have to hold it to the floor. You have to be able to, yeah, that's basically it. You have to be able to hold it to the floor, and it's a momentum thing. I hate momentum setups. I've always hated momentum setups. I hate momentum physics. I'm not a momentum guy, and that's why I always say, like, some guys like the GDNS, some guys like the CTS, some guys like the Cup physics, some weirdos like the PTA physics. I don't fucking know why, but, but it's
anyway, anyway, your story.
But yeah, where was I? Yeah, so I don't know why, like. I don't personally understand why people like the CTS physics myself because, like I said, momentum setup. But anyway, yeah, so, yeah, like I said, superspeedway.net, COT, favorite mod, favorite track. Oh, God, favorite track. So, I would say Dover. Honest to God, Dover.
Okay.
Easily.
Right on.
It's a high banked oval. It feels good to drive. I mean, to me, it feels good to drive. I mean, like I said, everybody has their preferences. I love Dover. I used to hate it, but I love it. Although I think a lot of that was, trying to run it in NASCAR Thunder 2004 and sucking at it. But I mean, that's that's everybody else, and I haven't run in a league in 2003 since Malin-Car. Haven't wanted to. Haven't really been in even before and after Malin-Car. I haven't really been attuned to Fast. Well, I haven't really been attuned to Enter 2003 since I left Fast. I've just kind of stopped paying attention to it. I mean, you kind of, I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's like you leave something and you just kind of lose interest in it, and you're just like, okay, that's part of my past now. It's part of my history, but I'm not really actively participating in it anymore. So you don't really pay attention to it, and I think that's why a lot of them. Okay, and actually, I was going to bring this up, and I'm glad I remembered. Danny Hardy, awesome guy. I didn't find out he'd passed till about well over a year after it happened, because the same
You're
way
out
I
of
found
the
your
community.
podcast.
You're out of the community. Yep.
Yeah, out of the community and the algorithm. The same way I found your podcast. The same way this is happening right now.
Technically, you found one of my live stream POVs first. You found me doing Fast at Dover, which is funny that you mentioned Dover's your favorite track, so maybe that's why you found it.
I know, right? Like, what the... That's such a slice of irony. Like, how weird is that it was a Dover race? That's the reason why I'm sitting here right now. But anyway, no, Danny Hardy, freaking amazing guy. And actually, I know I'm going to get off topic again, but I have to tell this story.
Go ahead.
We were racing at a league called Real Racers Inc. You probably have no clue what I'm talking about because it ceased to exist after about 2011. But it's where I met guys like Randall. It's where I met guys like Sean Romero, guys like that.
Oh no, I think Hezzy told me about this league.
Yeah, I think Hezzy did. And
so anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so I specifically remember one Martinsville race where me and Danny were racing hard. We were racing hard for that win. And I had that damn thing hung out so sideways. He ended up winning the race because Danny Hardy in 2010 was hard to beat. I had that thing hung out sideways, tail slapping the wall, trying to beat him. I just couldn't do it. I was just like, what is he doing? Like, what is he doing to his cart? What is he doing to his setup? No, Danny Hardy was just that guy. Like, and I feel so bad. It's like kind of leaving the entertainment community for a long time, and yeah, I wouldn't say me and Danny were ever really super close. We weren't, but I liked him. Danny was chill. I wish I'd known. That's probably one of my biggest regrets with Enter 2003 is I wish I'd known Danny had passed, because I would have shown up for his memorial race. Danny was cool. Like, I liked him. And I found out about a year after the second memorial race had happened, if that makes any sense. And I was like, dang, Danny passed? And then I've kind of dug around a little bit, and I was like, God, it was over a year ago? If that tells you about what time this discovery happened.
Yeah.
I was
It's been
like,
almost another year now. It's October, I think his birthday's end of October. Yeah, Hezzy was telling me they might do another one this year. He says he wants to do another one this year. So if you're in the Bomb Squad Facebook group, you'll get a notification for it.
I'm not. I'm not really on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's another.
Well, I'll let you know. Like if you want to run it, if it happens, I'll let you know and try to get you in that Facebook group so you can sign up, because it is supposed to be like more of a public event.
I mean, I don't know. It's like I don't want to intrude, but at the same time, it's like
I'm trying to get Randall to run it too, because Randall hasn't run it yet either.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine, especially like from Hezzy's perspective, I couldn't imagine losing your dad like that. Like, I don't know, like that just seems like, I think it flattened me personally. And the fact that Hezzy's still carrying on with his sim racing the way he is, I think that shows so much strength, That shows how much love he has for it, how much love he has for his father, how much, if that makes any sense. I mean,
no, absolutely. I think you're making good sense, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I don't know.
So you mentioned you've had you mentioned at the beginning that you've met a good amount of guys at races and stuff. What would you say? Would you say that first Martinsville race was like maybe like a really good gathering you had, or have you had other good gatherings with guys from the community?
Yeah, so that was probably the biggest by far. That was probably the only time we've ever had a gathering, that 2014 Spring Martinsville race, if that's what you're talking about,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the biggest sim racing gathering I've ever had. We've never really had any really big gatherings after that, but I would drag, because Randall lives like 2 hours from me if I'm barely trying. And we went to like 4 Martinsville races together, and I took him to the fall 2015 Martinsville race. I'm surprised he didn't mention this, but we went there, and I was actually wearing a Brad Keselowski hat because Gordon was retiring. I was trying to find a new driver. I didn't have one yet. But
How the fuck, excuse me for a minute, how the fuck are you going to wear a Brad Keselowski hat after what happened in 2014 at Texas?
I don't know. Did I mention I'm a little Looney Tunes?
Yes.
I don't know. Like, I was trying to find a new driver. I didn't really care for what was coming up. I didn't really care for the other Hendrick drivers. I wasn't a Hendrick fan. I was a Gordon fan. And I didn't care for Chase. I was just like, yeah, he's kind of a little too vanilla. And I was like, I'm kind of vibe with Brad a little bit, so I'm going to try Brad a bit. Well, that didn't stick. And then that kind of led to that whole 2016 to about Chase time 2019, or playoffs time 2019, when I ended up becoming really hitching my wagon to the Blaney fandom. And ever since I've been a Blaney fan. But it's like, I can't really describe what drove me to Keselowski of all people. I ended up throwing the hat out actually. I think it's part of what kind of happened in 2021, 2022. I ended up having a really bad roof leak and ended up having to throttle a bunch of stuff. So, I had to deal with that. Didn't really help matters much of what I was going through at the time. Yeah, have to pay thousands of dollars to get a house re-roofed. Yeah, that sucked. But anyway, I'm getting way off track again. Imagine that, right? But no. So the Keselowski fandom. So I had I I I had a bit of a weird experience, although it was kind of my fault with Chase Elliott. I'd gotten onto, and I don't think I've told a lot of people about this story. May 2015, Coca-Cola 600 weekend. I camped out with guys like Jay Lopez, Tyler Claybaugh. If you happen to know any of these names, stop me. Tim Conkle.
I know Claybaugh. Claybaugh and I
dude.
Never got along. We were.
See, that's so weird because
we were wrecking each other for 25th at FTF back then.
Isn't that some shit? But I never had a problem with him. But like he was chill with me when but we spent the week down there for the Coca-Cola 600. Gordon's last 600. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna I'll spend $250. I don't have to kind of help pay for parking and camping. And I spent a week down there in Charlotte, right? So, where the hell was I? I kind of got off on another tangent.
You were talking about who you were hanging out with.
Thank you. But yeah, so like I said, Jay Lopez, Tyler Claybaugh, Jay. I don't know if he's still on Alpha Prime or not. I don't know, but yeah. But so we were kind of doing that, and okay, so I had that. Sorry, I'm losing my track again. Damn. We were talking about who I was hanging out with. What was before that?
Something to do with Chase, I think.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, the whole Keselowski fandom. So yeah, we got onto pit road. We weren't supposed to, but we got onto pit road with our passes. They weren't really checking garage passes and pit passes and all that. It was the damn Xfinity race. Okay, so Saturday, May 23rd, 2015. We got into pit road. Well, and I fully acknowledge that we shouldn't have done this. We were trying to get Chase was standing next to his car, and we were trying to get his attention. Now, at the time, this kind of looked kind of dickish, but looking back on it, yeah, we were kind of the fuckos here. But we were trying to get his attention because we wanted to get a picture with him. Well, he was just kind of like, go away. But he wasn't saying anything, but he was just kind of looking away. He wouldn't look at us. And then finally, we got chased away. It was me and another guy named, I think his name was like Ryan McCoy or something like that. It was another one of the guys we were down there with. So yeah, at the time, I thought Chase was kind of a douche. But looking back on it, it's like, yeah, we were kind of the fuckos here. But
yeah, I guess kind of, yeah. This dude's trying to get ready for the race, and you're over there
yeah.
It's like, what the hell? Leave me alone, man.
I have no problem acknowledging now that we were. We weren't really pushing him all that hard. We were just like, hey, Chase, can we get a picture? Chase. And then finally the Fox guy ran us off. we shouldn't have been on pit road anyway. And yeah, we were douchebags. But, But yeah, so after that, it was just kind of like, again, speaking from that perspective of 2015, I was trying to find a new driver. Because I was just like, well, I don't know if I really care to root for Chase Elliott now. So I just kind of like, I was just like, I like this dude. Because, Gordon was retiring and, I was still a Gordon fan, 100% at heart. That never changed. Nowadays, yeah, but it's like not too long after I kind of started rooting for Keselowski because I liked how he handled himself. I liked how he didn't really, I guess in a way, he didn't really put up with the crap from the media. He didn't really have a problem voicing his opinion. I kind of vibe with that, right? So this leads into Martinsville, where I went and bought a Brad Keselowski hat. And then we were standing there up there in the stands, and yeah, we were up there in turn three, and we could see Joey Logano getting junked from the other side of the track. People undersold the TV broadcast undersold how loud that place got when Joey got wrecked. Like, you don't understand. Like, people went freaking nuts. And then every time up on the, if you go back and watch that broadcast, you'll see it. Like, you'll hear it. Like, every time they would show Logano on the Jumbotron, the booze rained down. People were sick of him. He was nobody liked him. And then every time they'd show like Keselowski, or not Keselowski, Kenseth, excuse me. Every time they'd show like Kenseth, the cheers would rain down. People undersold how loud that place got, right? So, I mean, I know it doesn't really explain why. I know I kind of gave a half-ass explanation of why I was wearing a Keselowski hat at the time, but So, after 2015, didn't really. I kind of just stopped watching. I didn't really care anymore. So
Yeah, you mentioned that.
yeah, but yeah, that's kind of the whole how I got on the Keselowski train. I liked how he carried himself. Yeah, very, very briefly, and I think I mentioned the roof leak, and a lot of my stuff got ruined, and the Keselowski hat got thrown out. But
oh damn, no, you didn't mention that. But,
yeah. But yeah, that's that.
Okay, so last little topic section, and then we'll get you out of here. So, so you can go watch your.
I've been rambling like nonstop and jumping from topic to topic. Congratulations! Now you know why people can't handle me too much.
You've been repeating yourself a little bit too, but it's all good. I get it. You said it yourself at the beginning of Scatterbrain, so people were in for the Scatterbrain episode. So last topic is just like your other interests, whether it's like music, movies, TV shows, or like any other topic you're interested in. So
yeah, so actually, ever since probably about 2022, and this is gonna lead into something. I joined a Fallout 76 clan called the Outriders. It was a yeah, they're my friends now. They're best friends. Dude, he goes by the name Phobos95. He my best friend. I don't have a lot of friends anymore, but he is my best friend, and it's his clan. So I joined that, and that kind of led into me kind of experimenting more with my creativity, like my interest in music and hobbies, other hobbies other than racing, and that led to me kind of tackling more things like. See, I do a lot of on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of things like FL Studio now, and I don't have any of the actual music pieces I've created, on there anymore because I'm kind of reworking a lot of them because I'm never happy with anything I create. And that kind of that leads into the mod that I created for Fallout 3 back in 2018, and and that's going to kind of tie into the sim racing thing a little bit. But I created a mod for Fallout 3 called Washington's Malevolence. I hate that mod now. I can't stand it. Like I said, I don't enjoy anything I ever make, or I don't like anything I ever make because you are your biggest critic, right?
Yeah.
So you get it, like.
Well, I like some of the stuff I make. I'm gonna let you finish before I get into my side, though.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say. So out of all that, I made the mod. It actually got an article, and I think it was Eurogamer, and it was a couple other PC articles, and I posted it. Okay, so the group chat, the fast group chat that everybody was in. That it was a bit of a dumpster fire. And I'm going to say the only person that I can actually remember that ever actually complimented me on getting that Eurogamer article was Brandon Hawken.
Oh wow!
Of all people, I didn't think I didn't think he'd care, but of all the people that I never thought of all people he would be the one. Like even my friends didn't really think whatever, but I get that. I had the Fallout 3 modding thing, and then I did a little bit of Fallout New Vegas modding. everything's up on a site called ModPub.
Okay.
The prototypes and stuff like that. I mostly do Fallout 3 and TTW, Tale of Two Wastelands. If you've heard of that, it's like they took Fallout 3 and put it in the New Vegas engine, and then kind of combined the two.
Okay.
So I do mostly my. I don't really do them all that often anymore, but I did like Fallout 3 mod ports. And they're on my Nexus mods profile, and that there's that, and then I mentioned the Fallout 3 modding. Okay, I mentioned the FL Studio stuff. Yeah, I do a little bit of creative writing on the side. I mean, you know how that is, right?
Creative
But
writing?
mm-hmm.
Oh, did you read my bio?
I did. I actually see this is something I do before I, really start talking to somebody. I don't. It's like I don't really, I don't stalk them, but I like to know who I'm talking to. So
Oh, you definitely were stalking me. No, I'm just kidding.
not intentionally, but it's like I saw your site. I saw that you had a story, a published story. I very, 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 very proud of you for that. By the way, it's
Oh,
very
thank
hard to
you.
publish a story. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's
it's hard
self-published, so,
to.
but yeah, it took
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to post stuff because you're just like, are people gonna like this? Like, I admire that effort. I admire that grind. I admire that kind of the word for it, but I'm struggling to find it.
Motivation.
Yeah, there you go. Like motivation, like you self-publish a work, and you're just like, are people gonna like this? Like, I don't know. Like you're rereading yourself.
I've
You're
heard
rereading
pretty
what
good
you've written.
things. Yeah, I've heard pretty
Mm-hmm.
good things. I would say the one thing, if I could go back and redo it, lot of info dumps. I would clean that up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing too. I've got my second one in the works, and I've been reading through my draft finally after not looking at it for a year because I got a little bit of writer's burnout, and I've just been making notes of like stuff to change, and it's like, yep, there's a lot of info dumps. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna make sure we get rid of those. That was like the biggest critique I got from a fellow author up in New Hampshire who was kind enough to read my book and give me a review because I did the same for one of his books. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah,
thing in the
info
author
dumping.
world is
Info dumping.
that's the one thing in the author world that's hard is like you got to get to know people. You got to read their books, give them a review, and then you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours kind of thing. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the energy for that right now, so I haven't really been doing that. Um,
Uh-huh. Yep. Nope. I
but
understand that entirely.
plus like all the major like review people get flooded to do reviews, so it's hard to even get a review if you like pay for one. So it's like, ugh.
Oh yeah, God. It's like half the stuff I write, I'll probably never publish. Like, I've had a story kicking around. It's like a racing story I've had kicking around for like, God. I think put it through so many revisions at this point. It's kind of been part of the whole sim racing thing I've been doing. Like that's how long I've been kicking it around, and I'll never publish it. But it's like, yeah, it's kind of like it's something and another thing with creative writing too, it's like it's something you go to when your creativity stuck. You have like this world you visit, like if
Hmm.
that makes any sense.
Well, I have to. So, funny story is, when I go to sleep at night because of my anxiety, and I'm always thinking of stuff, just like random stuff will pop in my head. That's just like a Category 5 hurricane in my brain, 24/7.
Oh God, I
So
understand. That's so bad.
I have to, whether it's my own story, it's actually better to do it if it's somebody else's story. If I can just like imagine myself being in somebody else's story, even though like that thought won't go like anywhere, it helps me fall asleep because then it makes it like I'm in a dream state. So then I'm able to fall asleep because I'm imagining like a fictional like alteration to somebody else's story. So it helps me pass out at night.
No, I get that entirely. Like I do. I get that.
Otherwise, I'd have to. I don't like drinking much anymore. Otherwise, if I drank, like that would help me pass out. That's what my dad does. My dad drinks to fall asleep. He's like, oh, I can't fall asleep otherwise. It's like, yeah, well, I'm with you on that one, but I just do other stuff. But when I was doing edibles for one time a couple of years ago, those were helping me pass out good. So it's like I could could get back on that, but I'm kind of like, I don't want to be dependent on something like that.
Yeah, I was about to say that's something. And I hadn't really talked about this a lot before, but it's something like I said, the past 8 years, something I've dealt with. And I'm not gonna get too far into it, but
No, you don't have to.
when you, in a way, it's like I think I saw a video from Empty Box. If you know, I think a lot of people in the sim racing community know who that is, right? And
Yeah.
he mentioned something about the job he was working at the time when he took a hiatus and then he came back, and it kind of resonated with me a lot. It's just like, and it was when I was working at McDonald's at the time, and it was, like I said, it's part of the reason why I left Fast and why I didn't really trust anybody anymore at the time when I left Fast. It was like, when you work at American Chopper, you start to see ghosts in a way. Like you start to, in a way, I guess you're seeing things that aren't there, and then people act a certain way, and it doesn't really help that much. So it's like, and I think a lot of that too is just like, most days when I would come home from work, it's kind of like what Empty Box said, and it's kind of like what I was going through at the time. It was like, most days I just come home and stare at the ceiling. From when I come home from work, it's just stare at the ceiling. It's just like, what am I even doing anymore? Like, is there anybody out there you can trust? Like, I don't know. It's like working in a crappy work environment, and I changed that at the end of the year. Sorry, Randall, for getting you called about a job reference that you really weren't supposed to give, because I don't even know how they managed to get your information, but whatever.
It was 6 years ago. Whatever.
Well, okay. In 2017, I applied to be a tech support specialist for the county schools that the county I live in, and he was a job reference at the time. Well, about 2.5 years later, since then I'd removed him from the reference, because that'd be kind of awkward, get somebody that you completely burn bridges with, and then they got to call you for a job reference, and then it's like oh yeah, okay, this is awkward now. So I guess they pulled it off my old application from like 2.5 years prior. Okay, so what I did, so I applied to be a school janitor. Easy, steady job, state benefits, easy, right? So, they did that, and that was incredibly awkward. And where the hell was I again? God, I'm doing it again. God.
Man.
Sorry. This is, congratulations. Now you know why I'm so hard to deal with. I can't keep a coherent thought. But it's like, so Randall got called for the job reference, and then, awkwardness ensued, and then, all that happened. And, here we are 6 years later, and I'm talking to you on a podcast that I never thought I'd even find from somebody that I didn't think would even... I didn't even think Fast would still exist at this point, because, a lot of the leagues that I started in don't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them gone.
Yeah,
they're either gone or they're on iRacing now.
Mm-hmm. That's just the nature of the beast. I didn't think Fast would still be around. I didn't think it'd still be going. I didn't even know Fast was running fixed setups until somebody told me. Actually, no, wrong. Actually, no, that was right, but I kind of misremembered something. So, Randall, I have actually somewhat talked to Randall, and it was in the Melon Car Discord. Somebody mentioned something about Fast. I was like, Fast is still around? And then Randall said something, and I haven't responded back. But it was in a gen chat. But, that was just a little tidbit.
I feel like I vaguely remember that.
You probably do.
The server's gone, so I can't... Tyler deleted the server when he no longer had a use for it, so you can't look at any of that stuff. But, yeah, I vaguely remember that. But, yeah, it's been fixed setup for a couple of years now, but... Yeah, I'm the big giant now. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm the giant.
You know what? Hell with it. Toot your own horn because nobody's going to do it for you. Most of the time. Mostly nobody's going to do it for you. So toot your own horn. Be proud of your accomplishments. You know that?
Yeah. Well, I always get told I'm being big headed, and it's like, what do you want me to do, man? Like, I'm just telling them I've won at the track 10 times, okay? Like, I'm just telling them. Like,
That's
I'm
just
not
facts.
I'm not
Facts, you
saying
know?
I'm not saying like I'm hot shit. I mean, I am hot shit, but I'm not unbeatable hot
Have
shit,
a little bit of
you know?
confidence in yourself. Absolutely. Have confidence in yourself. I mean, don't take it too far, but, have a little bit of confidence in yourself. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm going to go back a little bit to what that whole deal with Fast was about leaving Fast. It was just like, I mentioned like probably 2 hours ago at this point that, yeah, a lot of the guys that came in 2014-ish, I think it was when the Reddit guys started coming in. Yeah, yeah, it comes back to perspective. A lot of that is like you have this perspective of guys coming in. They act like they owned a place before they've even had a chance to establish themselves. And yeah, you feel like you have to defend your territory a little bit. And you do defend your territory a little bit. And like I said, Randall's mouth didn't really help all that much. But
I I hate to change the subject. Just you've already talked about it, but I'm going to change the subject.
I'm rambling again.
So,
Damn it.
I'm not to dive into politics, but there's a content creator on YouTube. His name's Devil Artemis. He does parodies, and he does it's like Perfect Cell and Kermit the Frog animations, and it's funny, like cringy, memey stuff. But so he did a Donald Trump episode, and then he did a second Donald Trump episode, and on the second Donald Trump episode, he had Joe Biden come on the episode, like just parodying him, right? And when Joe Biden gets introduced, he literally says, "Where am I?" And I was just thinking, man, that's Adam. Adam's just like, "Where am I? What was I talking about again?" Like just the scatterbrain.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say I won't get too far into the
No,
politics.
we'll just
and
cut
all
it
of
right there. But I just wanted to make that
Yeah.
reference to an animated video I saw last night. I was like, "Yeah, where am I?
Basically.
What was I talking about?" But no, yeah, it's
Yeah.
all good. So we can wrap this up. We're over 2 hours now, so I
Holy crap.
yeah, we don't want to go much
This
longer
would be the
now.
mo-
It'd take me.
of you listening to the most scatterbrained rambling ever. Like, you're just like, good God, this guy really is Looney Tunes. Okay.
Well, I will say this. You might be all over the place, but I don't know if I mentioned it in the comments section or not. But Randall's episode, I think I edited out like 20 ums, because every 5 words Randall would be like just to like fill the dead air.
Wow,
Which is funny because
yeah,
when you
that's
race with Randall, he's talking, he don't say but I think maybe that was his like interview anxiety, was just going like and I was like, I'm glad there's like a little pause between these ums. I'm gonna cut a lot of these out, and then I left some of them in there, but it would have been funny if I did like a counter on one corner and just counted all the ums, but that would have taken forever.
Oh, good. You are editing this. Good. So I can say that I've been sipping on a bottle of Bacardi this whole time, and I hate it.
Oh well, we're leaving that in. I don't care about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. It's like, yeah.
I only cut out like the gaps, the like dead air or whatever, just to
It's like,
shrink it up a little bit. But
yeah, that kind of shit. Yeah.
anyway, Adam, thank you for joining me for this episode of Who's That Driver. This was episode 20, so we're getting close to the next milestone, which is going to be 25. I've got a guest scheduled for the next one, so hopefully we should maybe get an episode out next week, unless things change. Everyone's busy. We're getting towards the end of the year. Who knows if we'll get any episodes to get out during Thanksgiving, Christmas season, because that's when people get super busy. But yeah, I wanted to just say again, thanks, Adam, for coming out. If there's anyone you'd like to shout out that we haven't already mentioned by name, feel free to do so.
Yeah, so I just have one. Randall, the door's open. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, right on.
The door's been open for 6 years. You know how to get a hold of me. You're not blocked on anything. Just holler at me.
All right. Well, once again, Adam, sweet. I'm not sure what we're going to call this episode. I was going to call it like Sweet Victory or something, but we might have to. It might just. I think it's going to be. What was I talking about again? I think that might be.
Thank you. Yes, there you go.
That's going to be the episode name. What was I talking about again? So, yeah, this was episode 20. What was I talking about? And this was Adam Sweet. Thank you for joining me.